All right, you guys, we are live once again. Search for Uhuru. Thank you for everybody who's going to join our broadcast today. I have brother Emeka Ihruoha with us, our Nigerian brother who, I reached out to and Junk Pile Video, you are first. Yes, you are, sir. Who I reached out today or the other day too, and wanted him to come on and dialogue. And the reason why I do this is because a lot of people are disconnected about what's really going on in Africa. And today we're going to focus on Niger, or Nigeria, affectionately known as Niger. And what caused me to reach out to the brother was one of his posts. Because one thing about Nigerians, especially here in America, they're very prideful, very prideful. And so you would think that there's really nothing wrong with the country for somewhat, but the brother here really went in on a post that I'm going to read real quick. And he said, "Dear African Americans, if you are waiting for Nigerians to build up Africa and kick off an Afrocentrist or Pan-African renaissance, I am afraid I will have to tell you that you are wasting your time. Nigerians and Nigeria is the epicenter, source, and headquarters of Coonery, self-hatred, and inferiority complex. It is more likely that Nigerians will sell you to racists you are fleeing from than to stand up for you. As the largest Black African nation, Nigeria has never made a statement of solidarity. Made a statement of solidarity, nor commented on your plight over there. I know that many of you are actually dreaming of a reunion with the lands of your roots, but under this present colonial settings, it would be intellectually dishonest to say that the giant of Africa would ever come to your rescue or be able to stretch out a hand that will lead you into safety. I therefore suggest you support the separatists that want to do away with the colonial structure in Nigeria and hope for the best. God bless America. God bless Niger Delta Republic. God bless Africa. I'll rest my case." And so a lot of Nigerians I know, they never really bring up the separatist movement. So I want to start off. Let me start off with this. Do you think Black Americans are romanticizing or delusional, or Africans in general delusional, when they think that we will all come together as one and form a real African union?
Well, thanks for inviting me. I would like to say yes. My name is Emeka Ihruoha, and I am a movement that is trying to break away from Nigeria. I want to explain Nigeria is a colonial contraption. It's a colonial prison for minorities. It is only there, it was set up by the colonialists and slave masters to create a cash cow that will be feeding the British citizens with the oil from the Niger Delta region. And that is why you have Britain supporting a central Nigerian government against all separatist movements. And as I said, it's all about money, and it's serving colonial purposes. Nigeria was never meant to serve African purposes or the African people and it inhabits. Nigeria is and in size, I would say, the greatest nation, Black nation, but it has failed all Black people on this planet, and that is why I am a Niger Deltan, and I am not a Nigerian. I might be a Nigerian due to my geographic location, but the members of my region are definitely not evil colonial creation called Nigeria, and we're definitely going to break out of that racist creation called Nigeria.
Okay.
And to answer your question, Delusion, I must tell you something. We're having fuck-ups on both sides. Sorry, my F word, but it's African-American cousins over there. Some people like you, African-Americans, So they have gone crazy. There are two extremes. Either they have started this their oh, we're Africans, we're native Indians, or we are natives to the continent, blah 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 blah. Or they'll go into this hotel, we are all Egyptians, and they give themselves some I mean, I've seen Black Americans giving themselves names like Shedefe Hotep Tep Lept. I'm like, I was like, what's wrong with this? Instead of taking names that are current, you know, I think there's some kind of delusion and both sides, on the American side and on the African side as well. Many people in Nigeria believe that Black Americans are like can't keep the law, unruly, rough. They have so many stereotypes, you know, and I always have to explain what's happening over there because it's similar to what's happening in Europe. And you hear from people, unexposed people, stuff like, yeah, these Black Americans, they're lazy, they don't want to work, and they're rough, and they have this hip hop drug slut culture, blah blah blah. They don't find it worth the time to understand how our brothers over there have been conditioned by centuries of dehumanization, devaluation, emasculation. Pointed down, have brought down original African man to its knees in America, in my view. It's nice to see people like you, that people that are reconnecting as well. It's nice to have people like me, I would say, that are from Africa and try to understand the Americans. So I think there's an illusion. Some African Americans have this belief that Africa is when they go back to Africa, it's all good. Many Black Americans, many African Americans are more African than Africans in Africa as well. I would say I would find more people that have more for their melanated color, for the melanated skin in Black America than in present day Africa. It's sad, but I would say that. I would say we don't really have an Afrocentrist movement, a Black Power movement, a conscience movement. All these things, it's all about Coonery. The more you're white, the more you're right. You know, it's all about, I mean, in my place, people are proud when their kids can't speak their native language. They're like, oh, my kids only speak English, and their kids speak Queen's English and stuff like that. So you can see this self-hatred is very deeply entrenched due to colonial just beat down of our people, I would say.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think, like, what's your thoughts on, why do you think, and not just, this isn't just limited to Nigeria. Why haven't African nations formally reached out to the diaspora or the descendants of the slave trade? Or why haven't they spoken out in regards to the ill treatment that we face here in America? Because you got to understand, just about every African country has a consulate or embassy in Washington, D.C. or New York City. So they see what goes on. They're here. They have a presence here. But why haven't they really extended a hand or helped or reached out to Black Americans as a whole?
I would say we Africans, I must say, we like looking at things from the eyes of the colonialists, of the white supremacists, of the Western nations, and we just don't see value in Black Americans. Our nations, I mean, all our nations have failed our brothers there. Nigeria, the largest Black nation, has never come out to say, hey, The way you treat our descendants is wrong. If you don't like them, send them back. No, nothing like that. We have the AU, the African Union, comparable with the EU, with the European Union. The African Union has never made a statement on the killings of unarmed black civilians. And that alone makes the union obsolete and unnecessary. And I would say our people, from what I know, from what I know all my life, our people just don't see value in black lives in America. They really believe it's right. And I would say as well the lack of media. Um, I would say the lack of media coverage, both from Africa and Black America, because Black Americans haven't tried to make allies in Africa to show them what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, would I say, do we Africans, have we Africans failed to establish a media coverage of what is happening in Black America? We aren't really interested. We believe that Black Americans are not at the bottom of the food chain, and so they're not worthy of our communications or alliance. And let's try it. Maybe the white man is right. You know, I've talked with Africans. I've told them stuff in Black America, and they've told me stuff like, "Yeah, maybe you guys are wrong. Maybe you have done something wrong." So it's always, you know, it's always this blame. It's always victim blame. Maybe somehow our people are wrong, and it's trying to give them a good hand, and they're not using it well. So it's a lack of communication from both sides. I believe we Africans have to make the first step as well. The Black Americans, our African American cousins, have to receive as well, or even try to stimulate us to make this first step. I think we should. I would say, yeah.
Okay. Now, you're part of the Niger Delta independence movement. What is your and then there's several independence movements in Nigeria. Of course, we have the Niger Delta, we have Biafra, and then
Yes.
I don't really want to mention them along with Niger Delta or Biafra because of the negative connotation that comes with it. Obviously, you have Boko Haram. So,
Okay.
Niger Delta, what are you guys trying to? What's the main goal? Like, what's the end game? What are you guys trying to accomplish with your independence movement?
Our end game is independence.
Hey, Emeka, question. The connection is kind of in and out on your end. That's what everybody's saying in the chat room. If you don't mind, to make it easier, could you turn off the video portion, if that's okay with you, and see if the connection is better? It's just the bandwidth.
Okay, let me try this.
Okay. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead and talk now.
Okay, good. The video connection is off, right?
Yeah, it's off in the sound, and the audio is better now. Go ahead.
Well, our goal, independence. As I said at the beginning, Nigeria is a creation of the white racist British Empire that came to Africa and used violence and gunpowder to force different regions, different cultures, different religious beliefs into one trading zone. Nigeria is just a trading zone. Trading zone established by the British people to cash out. So Nigeria was created for that purpose. Never was the stability the future stability or the harmony of the nation while creating this nation. So Nigeria is not functioning because it was never meant to function, and we have different regions, and we have been in perpetual conflict, I would say, both hot and cold. And I would say that we have to go back to creating our own nations. See, whenever his hand in Africa, bullshit comes out. So we're trying to go back to our roots and say, okay, we had regions that were trading with each other that were more homogeneous, and we want to go back to those more homogeneous than the heterogeneous nations created by the colonialists. And we see, for example, as you said, Boko Haram in the north. We have different value systems and different cultures and many different things. So we need to create natural homogeneous nations so that we can build up faster, because Nigeria ain't working. It wasn't meant to work.
So the Niger Delta, that's where all the oil is, correct?
Yes, that's where 90% of Nigeria's budget comes from.
Okay, so is this independence more because of Nigeria exploiting the oil or allowing foreign interests to exploit the oil? Is that what the main reason of this independence battles for, or what's behind it? I guess what's the main focus?
It's both.
It's both.
It's both. The foreign oil, the British state has with the northern part of Nigeria, is we supply weapons, the oil in the south, okay? So anytime the Niger Delta raise up their voice and want an intelligent deal, nations, just use the weapons we give you and kill them. And this deal have been there since 1960, when the British people handed over power to the Northerners. So that's where the problem lies. And yeah, Nigeria has a bad deal with the Western nations, to be honest, where they don't even pay for the oil. They actually pay for land. They like lease land, and it's just a bullshit deal. Believe me, Nigeria should be far richer, but we have, the Niger Delta, my region, produces 90% of Nigeria's budget, and secondly, we produce almost.
Hello? Hello? I hope we didn't lose him. Hello? Oh, let me send him a message real quick on Facebook. I think we lost you. Can you guys at least hear me? People in the chat room? Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Michael. It's the connection on his end. Hopefully he'll come right back. Hopefully he'll come back. Yeah, it's that Wi-Fi. I think he's in Austria though. So he's located in Austria. So I'm sorry about that, you guys. I know it was starting to flow better. The connection was getting better. The audio was getting better. Then, I guess the connection went out altogether. So hopefully he hops back on here shortly, and then we could continue. Yeah, he's in Austria, Michael. So, you know, I was thinking that the internet connection to Austria would be great, which he's probably just in a bad area. No, I'm very familiar, Becky, with what Nigeria is doing what the West is doing, especially Shell Corporation, what they're doing in the Niger Delta. I'm very familiar with it. That's why I was happy that he hopped on, because he's part of the Niger Delta independence movement. So, Shakari, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Now, hopefully, we'll get back. Here we go. The brother's back.
Yeah.
You got you back. You thought you were kidnapped by aliens. You're back.
Okay, let me off my video, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Michael, he's back.
Okay.
You know, we were like, well, he's in Austria, so we know that the Wi-Fi and the internet has to be fast in Austria.
It is. It's my bad. My battery was weak where I have this device.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't check one before, but it wasn't plugged. But it's okay now.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and continue. Thank you for coming back.
Okay, thanks, bro. So where did we stop?
We were talking about the oil in Niger Delta, where you're part of that independence movement, and how that is playing a role in Niger Delta wanting to be independent. Because
correct. Correct.
We feed. Go ahead.
We feed 90%. Like 90% of the Nigerian budget comes from my region. On my farmland, I got oil. I have never gotten a red cent from the oil on my farmland. And I know that definitely my farmland is contributing to the British economy. Mm-hmm. So the other thing is that 90% of the Nigerian budget comes from our soil. And we know that 50% of the British and Dutch budget, the budget of the Netherlands, as well, indirectly coming from the Niger Delta. So you see, there are major Western interests in this. You understand?
Okay, let me ask you this: is Shell, the oil company, are they funding rebels to go after or fight or execute people in the Niger Delta who resist?
We definitely know that the multinational oil firms have in the past supported many oppressive and fascist governments of Nigeria. Mm-hmm. For example, the famous author and book writer Ken Saro-Wiwa, who was executed by the Nigerian fascist state. We all know that the state at that time, the administration, was heavily supported by Western multinational oil firms, and nobody can doubt that it's definitely in their interests. So
let me ask you this: so you guys have, I want to say, Nigeria more than likely probably has the most Black billionaires.
Yes.
In one country. I mean, you have Aliko Dangote. You have, was it DJ Cuppy? Her father, DJ Cuppy.
Yeah, but they're all criminals. They're non-productive billionaires. They're non-productive.
Go into detail on that.
Excuse me?
Go into detail about that as far as how they're non-productive criminals.
I mean, what do they produce? If you check the biography, they're all dependent on the oil in the Niger Delta, and they have never really worked for their money. They all of them were friends to former generals in the oppressive Nigerian regime, and they have not really ever worked in their life. It's just, as well, must I say, many regime members use these individuals to hide and launder money for them. And I mean, I'm a general in the Nigerian army. I am stealing from the oil fields. I'm gonna give you some money to hide from me, and we're gonna say, hey, you're the greatest cement producer in the world, That's how it works.
Hmm. So with these different independence movements, so you have Niger Delta, you have Biafra. Say all of you guys get independence. How will you guys be able to coexist? And well, I guess it wouldn't be considered Nigeria anymore, but how will you guys be able to coexist with all these different independence movements?
You mean once we achieve independence?
Yeah, exactly. So you guys achieve independence. Biafra achieves independence. I guess Boko Haram, I don't know what they want, but they achieve independence. How will you guys be able to coexist?
Well, Boko Haram is not really an independence movement, nor Boko Haram is just a crazy lunatic Islamic State movement.
Okay.
But the fact is, I mean, we're gonna live very normal. I mean, how do we live with Ghana? How do we live with Cameroon? These are also independent nations. It's gonna be possible. I mean, you can travel in. We're gonna belong to the same ECOWAS. ECOWAS is a union of West African trade nations. So I don't see any big difference. Once we achieve independence, we're still gonna be neighbors. We're gonna like, hey, we can still come over and drink tea, you know. Just we're gonna have our own nation where we're gonna benefit from our soil. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let me ask, why do you think Africa is so corrupt, especially Nigeria? Because Nigeria has what, the largest GDP? Are you guys are have the largest GDP in Africa, correct? Even you guys passed South Africa, right? Or
Yeah.
Why do black leaders, African leaders, black leaders too, why do we sell out so easily? I mean, why don't we have any pride and integrity and dignity?
Well, the problem is till tomorrow we have been influenced by Western nations whenever we choose a leader.
Mm-hmm.
You have no chance being an Afrocentrist. We have some intelligent people. We have some people with dignity, with pride, with African orientation, with a black power mindset. But no way is Western interest going to allow them to sit in that office. And if you make a mistake to find yourself in that office with such a mindset, oh hell's gonna break loose, because you're gonna find insurgencies, rebels popping up, getting the modern, high-tech, state-of-the-art weapons from Western nations. You know, so you find things in Africa you wouldn't find normally once you speak against the Western interests. So that's why you saw during the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, it was during his presidency, Boko Haram started getting state-of-the-art weapons from Western nations, and it's a fact that Jonathan was transforming Nigeria and creating wealth, and it was in his time Nigeria surpassed South Africa in GDP for the first time, and as well, Nigeria started producing its first cars. You know, Nigeria has a car factory, Innocent Cars. It was during Jonathan's time this was established. And do you think white people are going to be happy when Africans are producing their own cars and hardware and stuff like that?
Of course not. But again, the question is why. I don't understand why these African leaders sell out so easily. We have the resources to be self-sufficient, but they just refuse to operate.
Jonathan didn't sell out. He was forced out, for example. He was forced out. Buhari is a 90-year-old former dictator of the Nigerian state. And he got, a former military head of state, Buhari, was supported by democratic nations like America, Germany, England. You won't expect the so-called good people, the Democrats of the Western nation that preach democracy and blah blah blah, put someone like Buhari with his oppressive and fascist record in 1985, you know. So it's just I mean, come on. We know what's all about. We know they didn't like the way Nigeria was developing. They were afraid of losing a big customer via self-sufficiency, and they couldn't let that happen. So they had to support someone that as it would please them, you know?
Okay.
And the pressure was much. Jonathan was forced out of office. The pressure was much. The Western nations, or they would endorse a parallel, and they would acknowledge and recognize a parallel government, which would lead to a civil war. And Jonathan didn't want any bloodshed on his behalf because he's a gentleman. He isn't a former military head of state, a former fascist like Buhari. And Jonathan is a university professor. He was a university professor at the University of Uniport, and so you can see that these are two different characters, and that's why Jonathan was like, okay, let him, for the sake of peace, let him step down and give way.
Okay. What role does religion play in Nigeria being the epicenter of Coonery? I see these videos of these fake Nigerian Christian prophets, and and a lot of Nigerians, and just not Nigerians, but Africans in general, eat this stuff up. Like, what role is that playing in them being the epicenter of Coonery?
Well, I'm a proud African, and I'm also a practicing Christian. But my Christianity, I believe I have gotten this African orientation, and what I believe is that what we practice now, brought by the colonizers, is a corrupt version of African religious beliefs and systems. Because if you read the Old Testament, it resembles more an African history book than an European history book. But what I'm trying to say is that, for me, I say, and I tell all my friends, I say that your God must look like you.
Right.
In my head, my Creator, or God Almighty, in my head, Jesus, Yeshua, is black. Because if you check the oldest, if you just Google, you go to Google and say the oldest picture, the oldest recorded picture or painting of Jesus, just don't write black and white, just write the oldest recorded. You see it, black skin, nappy hair, So, we have been brainwashed so much, We have been brainwashed, and then we have been brainwashed by this conventional religious way of practicing religion. We have a lot of fake pastors in Nigeria. We have a lot, and they are promoting Coonery. I mean, I was listening to a pastor I used to like, but I stopped liking him after that statement. He said that as a black man, you have to pray far harder because the black man is cursed. So I was like, get the fuck out of here, What rubbish is this? This is one of the things the colonizer wants us to believe, I
Right.
got blocked from a Nigerian Catholic, a friend of mine on Facebook, and I told him that because he was always posting pictures of white angels, and I was posting pictures of black angels, and he came to my inbox like, "Whoa, what's wrong with you? Like, how can you say angels are black?" And like, I was like, "You don't even know the meaning." Because, for example, the name Lucifer means the light bringer, the light one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have been taught anything dark bad, anything white is good, and that leads to Coonery. And that's why you see the church in Nigeria is the first person, as in parents, your parents and your church are the first people to introduce you to Coonery, self-hatred, inferiority complex in Nigeria. Because even, I mean, this like a pastor, another pastor told me, like, yeah, who was that? Who prophet was that married a black woman? She was like, yeah, the prophet married a black woman, and like people were shocked and was like, she said it with some form of wow, he was so nice to marry a black woman, stuff like that. So I think church is really a big problem. The white Jesus image is a big problem. It's the white Muhammad, the white Jesus image. These things generate and create self-hatred, inferiority complex. Because if Jesus and Muhammad are white, by contra indication, Satan is black. So you would more likely believe what a Western EU diplomat tells you on the negotiation table, because in your head, subconsciously, he's closer to God because your God looks like him.
I get you.
Yes, so that's the greatest issue we have, and I've told people, like, I've brought up this idea of Church of Africa. We should have a Church of Africa. We should stop this Anglican Church, which is the Church of England, the Roman Catholic Church, which is the Church of the Romans. We need an African church, stuff like that. We need an African. We need an African-based Christianity. We need an African-based Islam. Even, I mean, it's all the same. Even in the north, even Nigerian Muslims who feel closer to white Arabs than to black Nigerian Christians. So we think religion first. That's a big issue as well in our subconsciousness. So that's crazy, really. We need a solution to that.
Okay, somebody in the chat room, Chima Madu, she said 2 million of our Igbo people died during the Civil War. I have lost many family members, all because the British government wanted to keep the oil. Even the government soldiers didn't get a damn thing. What is she? I don't know much about the Civil War. Can you go into detail about that a little bit?
Yeah, the Civil War was, to be radically honest, the Civil War was caused by foreign interests, and domestic interests. The former Eastern region, spearheaded by the Igbos, wanted to break out with the Eastern region from the Nigerian nation. And of course, as I said, the British interests didn't allow that because of the oil in the Niger Delta region, which was part of the former Eastern region, and later the rebel state Biafra. And yes, millions of people were killed, and weapons, as in the Nigerian state was supported by the United Kingdom, by the USA, by the Soviet Union. This was the first time in history. This was the first time in history a communist capitalist nation sided on one part, and normally it's a proxy war, but in this one, both capitalists and communists sided the central Nigerian state, and the only allies of Biafra then was Israel to some extent, and France a little, but they really didn't really have many allies. And after 30 months, the Biafran rebel state was destroyed as well. Where people in my region, the Niger Delta, against Biafra for the Niger Delta struggle predates the Biafran struggle, because with 1967 Ojukwu declared war, independence, and before him, Adakaburu of the Ijaw Nation in the Niger Delta, declared the Niger Delta Republic and was arrested by Ironsi, an Igbo Biafran, who was the head of state of Nigeria then. And many Niger Deltans never forgave Igbos for that. And many are still angry with Biafrans for crushing the first Niger Delta independence struggle. And that is why many Niger Deltans, many people from my region, joined the Nigerian state to fight against Biafra later. And yeah, that's the story, the short story about Biafra. It took 30 months, almost 3 years. And yes, there were about 2 million or 3 million casualties.
Okay. So when you mentioned the Igbos were slaughtered, was it tribals or was it the Yoruba doing it, or what was the war, like the Civil War? Who was fighting who? Was it tribal or was it just like a central group fighting the Igbos?
It was actually the Nigerian state put a puppet on in the office of the presidency, and this General Gowon, or President Gowon, in alliance with the Yorubas and in alliance with my region, the Niger Delta, fought the Eastern Igbos. And at the beginning, many Niger Deltans, many people from my place were as well with Biafra, but later on, due to internal fightings and killings as well within the Biafran and Eastern region by some elements of the Biafran rebel states, on killings of Niger Deltans, many Niger Deltans switched allegiance and switched sides and supported the Nigerian state, and which led to the sea blockade. Niger Deltans blocked the sea for goods to come in to Biafra. So Biafra was starved out and ran out of ammunition and supplies, and that was the downfall of the Biafran rebel state. But it was really actually a tribal war, it was like the Hausas and the Yorubas in alliance against the Igbos. So that was it.
Is skin bleaching still a major issue, major problem in Nigeria?
What?
Skin bleaching.
Skin bleaching. Oh, it's a big issue. Like, bright is beautiful, The brighter you are, you see a lot of Nigerian stars and actresses, when they start with their little beginnings, they are dark. And the more fame and money they make, what a coincidence, they get lighter, So it's always the same story. And weaves, skin bleaching, same shit like what's happening with Black American women, African women take Black American women as a role model, and the same bullshit of Black American women do, African women imitate and emulate, and it's tragic. But you see people bleaching, you see people money for Brazilian hair and weave and artificial hair and stuff like that. It's just trying to look like your oppressor,
So I know this weekend, many Nigerians are celebrating Independence Day.
Yeah.
Is there really anything to celebrate? And that's not just Nigeria. That's pretty much all African nations that celebrate Independence Day. Like, what are we really celebrating?
There's nothing to celebrate in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria. When you celebrate, you should have a reason. Nigeria is a failure. Nigeria is a disgrace to Africa. To be very honest, Nigeria, with all the opportunity it has never set a good example for other African nations. Nigeria taught other nations how to exercise tribal violence. Nigeria has regional violence, tribal violence, religious violence, all types of violence started in Nigeria. And we're supposed to be like a big brother, but when your big brother is fucking up, respect, and you don't get the right orientation, So Nigeria hasn't given the rest of Africa any good orientation. Nigeria is a problem actually for Africa, and I believe that Africa will be a better place if Nigeria disintegrates and breaks up into at least 5 nations, because as it is right now, Nigeria is everyone best in Africa always, and people always expecting Nigeria to lead, but Nigeria is unable to lead because of its internal differences. So there's no point. Another nation has to take that position. Nigeria is not fit and will not be fit to lead the black man on this planet. So there's no point. Just kill it and start afresh, Celebrate. Nigeria hasn't achieved anything. I think even Ghana is better than Nigeria right now. And that's why you see many Nigerians studying in Ghana, which is very shameful, because 20 years ago we sent Ghanaians packing. We had this Ghana must go slogan, and we sent up Ghanaians packing. We were saying they're unworthy of staying in Nigeria and they're causing unemployment and blah, blah, blah. We treated them badly. We sent them away. Today, many Nigerians are going to Ghana. So Nigeria hasn't really been proud of to celebrate these holidays. Nigeria has no constant light. Upon it's the oil richest nation due to its oil and gas deposits in the Niger Delta. No constant light, no constant clean tap water, no good drainage system. I mean, there's nothing to celebrate. We have people spending money in Western nations, developing Western nations with Nigerian oil money, with Niger Delta oil money, but we are not developing Nigeria. So the president of Nigeria has been out of the nation more than he has been in the nation. He is in London every day, going on for medical bills, medical treatment. He has billions he could invest and create a hospital in Nigeria, one hospital that could be state-of-the-art hospital for even other African leaders to come and visit. But no, all day long, he's burning, I think, 50,000 pounds a day, something like. His jet is there. They pay, I think, 4,000, 8,000 a day for parking the jet and stuff like that. So it's crazy. We have nothing to celebrate, absolutely nothing. Anyone celebrating Nigerian independence should tell you at least 3 things he's proud of in Nigeria. And I tell you, he can't say 3 things.
Why do Nigerians? So let me tell you the story. So I was in Kenya,
yep.
And I wanted to use a $50 bill, USD, $50 bill. Yep. And it told me that I can't use this $50 bill because it's a certain year. I said, why? They said, because Nigerians come to Kenya and they counterfeit the money. I'm in New York. I'm catching a taxi to the airport, and there's a Nigerian airline that flies out of New York called Eric Air, I believe it's called Eric Air.
Yep.
And same thing, the taxi driver was like, these Nigerians, because there was a Nigerian guy who he dropped off at Eric Air, and he gave him a $100 bill, and he's like, I can't accept the $100 bill. And so then the Nigerian guy started an argument with the taxi driver, and then he finally came up with some money. I mean, you had the xenophobic killings in South Africa, and they were saying primarily they're going after Nigerians. Listen, I'm in Senegal, trying to get my citizenship, or dual citizen, trying to gain dual citizenship, American and Senegalese, and get a passport. And they were saying the first question they asked me, because I speak English, was, "Am I Nigerian?" I said, "No, I'm not." And it was a sigh of relief. Like, thank God you are not Nigerian. Thank you so much. Why do Nigerians have such a bad reputation worldwide?
Well, it's due to the lack of, how would I say, the Nigerian government has always failed the Nigerian citizens. And when the government fails, Nigerians run. And when they run away from Nigeria, they try to survive no matter how. That can lead people to different endeavors. And I would say that it's a pity, but Nigerians have a bad reputation for the frustration they have received and for the fact that they are ready to do anything. And I think it's the fault of the government failing the citizens, and it's just sad, really. I know this. I know this, and even in Europe, you have a lot of stress with Nigerians everywhere. People just have this bad reputation. You can do whatever you want. Nobody's gonna believe you because you're a Nigerian. And I would say even the president of Nigeria, Buhari, came to London, and white people were like, Nigerians are criminals. And Buhari was like, yeah, my people are criminals. So even the president of Nigeria couldn't defend Nigerians because he isn't even proud of his citizens. No president on this planet will call his own citizens criminals on international live TV and television. And he did that twice. And he was like, yeah, our people are criminals abroad, but majority of Nigerians are not criminals abroad. But do you blame strangers for seeing Nigerians as criminals when the Nigerian president comes to London and gives an international interview and calls its own citizens criminals? So Nigeria is really fucked up, from head to toe, And as I said, even the president doesn't see hope in his citizens. So what's the point of keeping that nation together?
And let's talk about Buhari a little bit more. So Buhari, now this is my thing. Nigerians come to America. They do so good. I mean, as far as, especially in the medical field, lawyers. Yeah. I mean, they're some of the most educated people on the planet here in America.
Yeah.
But what's the disconnect in actually Nigeria? Why aren't Nigerians progressing? I'm not saying they're not, but why aren't they progressing as much in Nigeria? Case in point, you have all these talented Nigerian doctors in America. Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me there aren't enough talented doctors in Nigeria, and that is the reason why Buhari went to the UK to get treatment?
The issue is this. I would say there are two reasons. First is inferiority complex and self-hatred. Buhari believes, and many Africans back home in Africa believe, that a white man will always do it better.
But brother, you were breaking up a little bit. You were breaking up.
I hear me now.
No, I'm saying, but you were breaking up a little bit. We didn't really hear you that clear. Say that one more time.
I said there are two reasons. There are two reasons. The first reason is the Nigerian mind is infested with inferiority complex and self-hatred. The average Nigerian will believe that, like Buhari now believes that the white doctor will be better than a black doctor, because he will feel like the white is always right. Or that he will have more confidence in a white doctor. Secondly, the lack of the proper facilities in Nigeria. Definitely, Nigerian medical doctors are gonna be more able to provide maximum service in America than in Nigeria because the Nigerian government has failed as ever to provide a standard hospital that would be enough to take care of human lives. Most people in Nigeria fly out to India or to Malaysia or wherever for complex operations. They don't do it in Nigeria. No, nobody with a little bit cash would remain in Nigeria. Many of them travel to India, especially, or to the UK, or to Germany. So they lack the facilities. The money is there, but the political will to establish a functioning healthcare system isn't there. So um, that's the problem. So that's why you can see Nigerian. We have talented, very good medical doctors in Nigeria, but you can't expect them to perform in Nigeria same way they could perform in a Western nation like America.
Are you optimistic about Nigeria at all as far as progressing and moving forward?
Albert Einstein said something. He said, the definition of insanity,
Mm-hmm.
trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We have tried this Nigerian bullshit project over and over and over again, and it's not working. It's never going to work. Never. Never. Me being optimistic would mean I'm insane. Would mean I'm having a mental condition. I can't see everything going on there and say there's hope for Nigeria. Nigeria is the problem of even I'm telling you, our black brothers in America are suffering because of Nigeria. What our black brothers in America have been killed and suffering marginalization because of Nigeria. I'm telling you this now, straight and direct. Because the biggest black nation on earth has never ever come out to make one fucking statement on behalf of black lives in America. This is the biggest and richest black nation on the surface of the planet. What do you expect the white people to do? They see nobody coming for you. They feel you have no allies, you have no option, you have no hope, you have no point of safety. I am sure that if America treats Chinese people the way they treat black people, I am sure China is going to come out, speak on behalf of their descendants, or send some form of aid, or send a form of repatriation project, But we have done nothing in that direction. Nothing. We have failed our brothers and sisters in America, and we have beaten our chest, being ignorant and blaming our black brothers over there instead of helping them. And we have failed you. Nigeria has failed you. Nigeria will continue to fail you, and you're going to continue to remain a dangerous racism because the greatest black nation on earth won't speak on your behalf. And if Nigeria will come out and say, we have been watching what is going on with our people, with our descendants in America, and please, we beg the American states to give them their rights entrenched in the UN Human Rights Charter, or if they're not ready to take care of our descendants, please kindly send them home to Africa than to send them to their grave. So if we could at least make such a statement, believe me, the American nation will at least understand that there is someone at least speaking up. Even if we don't have the power to sanction America, but at least to show concern, it would give our brothers and sisters over there a blue chip. At least it would give you some card, some strong card to hold, because the Black American nation is about has a GDP of $1.2 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money. If our Black brothers and sisters would organize themselves and forget about Air Jordans and cheeseburgers and say, hey, do you know what? We're gonna organize ourselves and get together $1 billion US. Do you know what you can do with $1 billion US in Nigeria? $1 is about 400 naira at the moment. You can rent a nice flat for 500,000 naira or 1 million naira. 1 million naira is about let's say two 2,000 $2,500. Yeah, $5,000. You can rent a flat for 1 year. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this high currency power. You have an advantage. If you can do that, you can build something in Africa. And as well, if you can do that, white America will be like, whoa, these people are serious. They might move over with money, and at least you have something to negotiate with. But in this situation, our brothers have been left alone, and no one ever coming out on their behalf. And that's a problem. Nigeria is never ever going to do that. And Nigeria is the greatest black nation, so to say, due to its numbers. So we have to dismantle Nigeria and let another black nation take over and move Africa forward. But as long as Nigeria is there, Nigeria is going to be a problem to the black man on this planet.
All right. So what exactly do we need to do to change the fate of Nigeria?
Nigeria has to, for example, Ghana. Ghana was Gold Coast before. The Republic of Benin was Dahomey, I think.
Dahomey.
So all this Zimbabwe was Rhodesia. So Nigeria is still Nigeria. Just to show you that the name Nigeria wasn't even changed. The colonial mentality is so deep in Nigerians. It's so bad. It's so bad, believe me. I'm telling you, Nigeria has no hope. We must learn to give up something, We shouldn't even think of changing Nigeria or push Nigeria forward. It's a waste of time, resources, energy, and emotions, Just we need to dismantle Nigeria and let it have peace. Nigeria is causing a lot of trouble in Africa with its insurgencies and blah, 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 rebels and blah, blah. So we need to dismantle Nigeria into 5 nations: Arewa, Oduduwa, Biafra, Niger Delta, Middle Belt. We really need to dismantle the nation and let there be peace. Let another nation take over the number 1 position and move Africa forward. And as well, the AU as well. I have to blame the AU as well. The AU, the African Union, has never spoken on behalf of our brothers. And the AU built was sponsored by China. So we have a lot of bullshit, I mean, we have foreigners investing in we have foreigners building headquarters for African diplomatic institutions. I mean, you can't be a sovereign continent like that,
All right. In your opinion, which country has the most potential for Pan-Africanism or Pan-Africanness in Africa? What are your thoughts?
Well, I would say there's no country in Africa. I would say, but I would say let me pick up individuals. Julius Malema, Africa. I mean, South Africa is a cool nation as well. They have a lot of coonery, just like Nigeria. But I would say parts of South Africa, at least South Africa came up with this very self-confident movement, the EFF, very direct and unapologetic on its demand on indigenization of lands and mines. ZANU PF with Mugabe. Mugabe has done a lot for Africa, but I think he's going to the wrong direction a little bit now due to his personal handover process to his wife, stuff like that. I've lost a lot of respect for him, but I believe Mugabe was a strong Pan-Africanist. And I would say maybe, I don't know. Yeah, well, I think this, I won't say there's this nation that is Pan-African. I believe Africa doesn't really have that. You know. But I would say such individuals like, such parties like the EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters of Julius Malema, and ZANU PF of of Mugabe, Robert Mugabe, and maybe yeah, some other elements. But I don't see any nation saying we are like the Pan-African nation. No, I'm not seeing that. No, I think the Niger Delta, once we achieve independence, the Niger Delta definitely is going to be, because we have suffered a lot. We have suffered a lot from both Africans and especially European colonizers, and I believe the fact that we want to go back to creating our own state under our own condition is Pan-African, so to say.
Okay. And then somebody in the chat room, Chima Madu, just said Nigeria was actually made up by the British governor's wife.
Sorry, that's wrong. Nigeria, the name Nigeria.
The name Nigeria, correct? Is that true?
Niger area, Niger area, and she said, okay, let's call it Nigeria, Niger area, Nigeria.
That's crazy, and Nigerians don't see an issue with that.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I told you, we're a cool nation. It was called Niger area, you know. Niger area. So
wow.
That's Nigerian Niger area. It's crazy. We have the name alone has some satanic energy, you know. The name alone has some satanic energy, because even Frederick Lugard and his mistress Flora Shaw, who named Niger area Nigeria, they were practicing Satanists, members and followers of one of the most popular Satanists in London, 1912, 1914, you know. So I believe the name is very negative. Yeah.
And you're saying, like, are Nigerians aware of where the name comes from, Nigeria?
I see, many Nigerians are not aware, but many are aware. We separatists are very much aware of this, but those that are, especially in the West and in the North, those that are in support of keeping Nigeria together because they're benefiting from it, don't really care about stuff like that, you know. They just care about the oil money that comes from the Niger Delta. Same way, I mean, Nigeria and Biafra have the same goal. Nigeria and Biafra are fighting over the oil in our region in the Niger Delta. So it's actually, everybody's fighting for oil, actually. It's all about the oil in the Niger Delta.
Right. Someone in the chat room, Charles Irby, said, I don't think splitting the country is an alternative. Also, the North would never allow a referendum so the Southwest region can become a sovereign state. Is there any truth to that?
He said the North will never allow that. It's true. The North benefits from Nigeria because 1957, Nigeria could have gained independence, but the northern members of the colonial house in Lagos, in Nigeria, voted against it and said they want to remain a colony. And the British people are ever grateful for that Coonery, for that act of Coonery. And 1960, when Nigeria got independence, the British colonizers and colonial administrators handed over power to the North. And that's since then the power is in the North. The last time Prince Charles visited, he came to the North. He didn't come to the South. You know, the North is with Muslims and the South is with Christians, but the British Christians have never visit the Christians in the South. So it's all about oil money and interest, and yeah, the North won't allow it, but definitely Nigeria is going to break up. Definitely, Nigeria is going to break up. Nigeria is existing because of the of our people in the South. We all stop collaborating with the Nigerian occupation forces in our region. Nigeria is going to collapse, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now, just from what I see in the potential of Nigeria, Nigeria should be richer than Saudi Arabia. Is that true?
Nigeria is a very poor nation. The Niger Delta is rich. Nigeria has no, the oil comes from the Niger Delta.
Okay.
I could live Saudi Arabia. Nigeria is penniless if you would look at it from that way, because 90% comes from my region, from the Niger Delta. So, and you can't compare this. I mean, how many inhabitants does Saudi Arabia have? I think 21 million or 25 million or 30 million. Nigeria has about 2 million inhabitants, you know. You can't compare that. You calculate the inhabitants and calculate the production of oil. Nigeria is too large. Too large. Nigeria and Libya produce almost the same amount of oil, but Libya has like 5 million inhabitants. Nigeria has 200 million. Of course, Libyan individuals will have more money in their pocket because they're far less for the same amount of oil production, you know.
Hmm. All right, cool. Everybody in the chat room, thank you for coming and dialoguing with us. Let's see here. We got any more questions in the chat room? Let's see here. Let's see here. The Igbos are the richest tribe. John O in the chat room. I don't know if he's trolling or what, but he keeps saying Nigeria was formed to get to slaughter and kill and get rid of the Igbos. Is that true?
That's bullshit.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, he keeps saying it, like the purpose of Nigeria was to kill all the Igbos. Nigeria was created to keep the Igbos down. That's what he keeps saying. Like I said, I don't know if he's trolling or what. So
just tell him Nigeria committed war crimes on Biafra, and Biafra as well committed war crimes in the Niger Delta. So that's it. Biafrans as well committed war crimes in the Niger Delta.
Okay. Nigeria needs a PR campaign. Well, let's be optimistic real quick. So in Nigeria, you have projects like the was it Echo, the island Echo.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, the new governor of Lagos State is very progressive, and that he's getting rid of corruption. He's working on the infrastructure as far as the roads. And then again, you have these projects like, what was it called? Echo? Is that the project you're working?
Yeah. That's bullshit anyway. Sorry to say.
Go ahead.
Total bullshit from the Nigerian media. That Echo project bullshit is just another cash cow for racists.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. All those things that don't even belong to Nigerians. These are foreign investors coming in to build a small paradise for white people in Africa. They're going to exploit black people. We're going to send the money to Europe. That's how it's going to work.
Mm. So you're saying that Echo is not going to operate in the best interest of Nigerians?
We're not going to benefit anything from it. we're going to serve for maybe 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira a month, which is not up to 100 euro. And yeah, I mean, they're going to pay them $100 a month, and they're going to serve fat, rich Western people. You know, there's no value. It brings no value to our day-to-day life. Okay, we're going to have some servants working in that city, but the ownership is going to be white. You know? It's going to be white. And that governor is corrupt as hell.
Really? What's it? I mean, let me find it. What's his name? Because I was reading a story on him the other day, and they were saying that he was implementing all this change in Lagos State, and I was like, wow, that's good. He said he's improving the infrastructure because, from my understanding, the roads are terrible in Lagos. His name is Mr. Akinwumi Ambode. Is that the current governor?
That's the current governor, and please, he's protecting the former governor who was corrupt as hell. Corrupt as hell. See, the former governor put him there, and they have their kingmakers, and each the next one elects the predecessor from government investigations, blah blah blah. So I'm the governor. I put you. You take care of me, and you put your next person who takes care of you. You know, like protecting your bullshit. You know, forget it.
Okay. Eric has a question. Why hasn't the government brought down Boko Haram yet?
Because elements of the current government instigated Boko Haram. Elements of the current government brought up Boko Haram to destabilize the former government. And that's why you could see, I mean, Boko Haram said the current president, Buhari, should be the chief negotiator for peace. I mean, come on. I'm endorsing Buhari as a spokesman and negotiator on the table. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Boko Haram was created by foreign interests and domestic interests to truncate and overthrow the last regime, the last president. You must ask yourself, how do people, the North is so poor, how do people that don't have up to $1 a day coming to run into machine guns worth thousands of dollars?
Right. Exactly. Where are they getting the funding? Because it's the same thing in Mali. Like you have
they don't have good shoes. They don't have good shoes, bro. They don't eat. I mean, they have, these are ragtag, malnourished people. They have no good clothes on, but they have steel rubber, state of the art, $5,000, $15,000 machine guns. You know, I mean, come on. This foreign interest there. Come on.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing. Because when I'm in Mali, you know, of course, in Mali you have the radical Islamists in the northern part of Mali. Same thing. They get all these weapons, and again, you got people that can't even live on that can't even earn $1 a day. Yeah, you're right. Where they get this funded, they definitely have to be funded by outside interests. Well, Brother Emeka, thank you so much for coming on. Let me ask you this. I mean, in closing, is there anything you want to share or want to tell the people? And also, too, give people your contact information so if they want to reach out to you, they can.
Well,
I like to end on a positive note. You know, anything positive that could come out of this doom and gloom about Nigeria. Yeah, and a lot of what you said is true and facts, but what positive what can we do to change the current situation of, and let's deal specifically with Nigeria. And then if you want to close out, go ahead.
Let me say one thing. To solve a problem, the first step to solve a problem is to identify and acknowledge the fact that there is a problem.
Right.
Now that many of us have understood that even if Nigeria wanted, we never had a chance because the British people created it in a way for us not to have a chance. But the chance is for us to understand and learn from, for example, the former Czechoslovakia, a nation in Europe, in Eastern Europe, which is now the Czech Republic and Slovakia. And this nation sat down on the table and said, you know what? We can't live together anymore. Let's break apart, but let's keep good relations, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't go to war. Czechoslovakia broke apart without firing a single bullet. Yugoslavia, on the other hand, had the greatest massacre of civilians after the Second World War in Europe, where the Serbians and Bosnians and Croatians killed each other and committed genocide. And we have to reason. We have to reason and understand that it was never our intention to create Nigeria. It was the intention of white colonialists. And we need to reason and understand that we're still Black African brothers. And we need to we shouldn't let white foreign interests make us to shed blood. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't spend money on white weapons industry, arms industry, to kill each other. We should sit down together and try to reason on the table if possible. And that's the only thing I could see if we can be that rational. But I am sorry to say, Nigeria is what it is. You know, I can't sugarcoat it. It would be intellectually dishonest to sugarcoat what it is, you know. Mm. And yeah, my contact, you can check me up on Facebook, Emeka Ihruoha, and you can follow me up. I'm radically honest. I don't sugarcoat stuff. I speak my mind. I say what I think and think what I say. And I don't believe in political correctness. I believe in radical honesty. Mm. We must speak out and say things as they are for us to find solutions.
Great. Hey, brother, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it. The chat room really enjoyed it, Brother Emeka. And please don't be a stranger. Whenever you want to come on and discuss something, please just shoot me an email or message on Facebook, and you're more than welcome to come on.
I will do that. I'm definitely, we're going to have some more sessions like this because we have a lot of stuff to discuss.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on. Tell me, I don't think you actually told people your YouTube or your Facebook handle.
Emeka Ihruoha. I think you have my name on Facebook. So
yeah, I do. In fact, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and let me go ahead and put the link in here. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Right now. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna put his link, the link to his Facebook page, in the chat, and then I'll also put it in the description as well, so people could reach out to you if they have any questions or want to reach out or want to network.
Oh, of course, they can. Definitely, I've been speaking with many of our African American brothers over there, and many of them want to visit, and I'm organizing something like that for next year, kind of tour in the Niger Delta. So they can link up those that are interested, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. Instagram, search for Uhuru. Make sure you like the pics. Make sure you follow me. Also go to Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Search for Uhuru is my handle. Make sure you go to dynasamir.com. Make sure you go to searchforuhuru.com. And then also go to amazon.com and search your name, Dynasamir. Please buy a book. Guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. Chanel, thank you so much for joining us. You know, it's a Friday night out here, and you guys have many options as far as entertainment, but the people who watch this, you chose to spend time with us. So with that being said, search for Uhuru, the Kapitan Don. Till next time, peace.